Hey guys, Wolvie here. This is part 1 of 2 for the March calendar preview for the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Global. Now I'm doing this later, unfortunately, because I got a bit too tired last night. And unfortunately, I couldn't film them. I really needed to get some sleep, so that's down that. So for the March calendar preview, this is going to be in 2 parts. So because there is something from the stream in particular I do want to address, and that is its own video. With that bit out of the way, the usual disclaimer applies to this video. Any opinion in this video is my opinion and my opinion only, so that's not on that. There are a few things here I do want to go over before we get into the March calendar preview, so we're just jump right into it. So basically, we have here the first 2 chapters of the main scenario interlude, which leads into what's going to happen in Act 3. Now, on JP, as far as I know, we are at, I know JP is at least at Act 3, Chapter 4, so for those of people, for certain people, anybody keeping tabs here, Global is closing in varying regards, so just a bit of a friendly warning right there. Now, I will have the Dissidia database website link in the description below so you can read certain things on your own time. There are some changes to the Dissidia database website coming along in the coming days, so just be mindful of that. So anyway, so we have here, so some stuff here, you know, for the main scenario interlude, you guys might as well read this on your own time because unfortunately, like I said, I just don't want to ruin it here. There is maintenance coming tomorrow morning from 8 to 10:30 a.m. UTC, which is 2 to 4:30 a.m. Central Standard Time here in the United States. So that's that on that. Now, what we're going to be doing here is a little bit different. Like I said, there is a particular portion of the stream where it is its own video. I just want to make sure I get this part at least filmed first before I get to part 2. So, there's not a whole lot going on in the sense of quality life or miscellaneous. Now, there is going to be an addition to the co-ops in the format of the either option. Because for those of us, you know, who are familiar with the whole co-ops aspect where it's like, do you want to start your own co-op room or do you want to join in as a guest? Now, there is going to be the option of either, however you want to pronounce it. So that could be, that option is going to be as well. So the thing here is you might as well have at least one bill available for this because it's probably going to be going into the fact of like, you want to start your own, you want to get into a co-op, but how much of in a hurry are you really to get to it? You know, are you willing to join as a guest? Are you willing to start up your own room? So there's the either or. It gives you the best options. And there is Sandy. Sandy the tabby, he says hi. You can see a little bit of his ear. So anyway, so we do have the option for the either option. So it's like it's either or. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. You know, it's a bit of a wait and see in that regard. So that we do have coming along after maintenance. Now, when it comes down to certain aspects here, I am reading off my notes here a little bit. So there's going to be like passive acquired, passive not yet acquired. So we're still like, so that's going to be, that's a nice addition as well. This is all coming after maintenance. And regarding the stream rewards, now I'm going to go into that. Let me see. I know I've pretty much written this down. So it's going to be 4,000 gems altogether, 20 draw tickets, 10 armor tokens, and 1 power stone. That's the stream rewards. Now, for those of you who have been taking part in the Twitter trivia challenge, there's going to be additional rewards coming. Both the stream rewards and the Twitter rewards are coming on the 25th, which is a Thursday, which is really nice. So with that bit out of the way, now we're going to get into some of the content that is coming along. Now, for those of you who are wondering, there is a support aspect for the World of Illusions, which if memory serves me correctly, I believe it's like whoever's synergy around the time, around a certain time, they become like the synergy. Hold on a second. Now, basically, if memory serves me correctly, anybody who is synergy for a certain period of time, they're like the ones you can use for like ultimate, let's just say here, Bahamut, for example, or Divine Diabolos, that sort of thing. So it looks like we're getting something a little bit sooner in the sense of like certain aspects of synergy for the Divine Insert Esper name. So we're getting that a little bit sooner than we anticipated. It's a real nice treat to see something like that. That's if memory serves me correctly. I could be very well wrong here. Do not quote me. So that's that on that. So we do have something going along with that. Now, I don't think I've seen anything in the realm of reworks. So fortunately for me, the month of March is going to be a rework analysis-free month. So it gives me more time to catch up on varying other items in my life. So besides all of that, we do have an 80/80 Awakening quote-unquote wave, which is Onion Knight from Final Fantasy III, Saz from Final Fantasy 13, Snow from Final Fantasy 13, Gal from Final Fantasy 6, Alice from Final Fantasy 14, and Gator from Final Fantasy Type 0. Now, like I said, there are no reworks. These are they're going to just get their 80/80 Awakenings. Now, if there is a rework coming and I forgot to see it on the slide, I'll be doing a rework analysis video for that character. But if there isn't, it means it gives me more time, to catch up on varying other things in my real life. But the thing is, with Onion Knight, he is the first of two to get the LD Empress weapon for the month of March. Now, I will mention here that when it comes down to the two banners that the whole thing, this Awakening Wave is tied to, you're going to be a free multi-pull for the two banners where you have both the LD and the burst for Onion Knight in this case. Now, in addition to this Awakening Wave, Gal will be getting the LD extension to his character enhancement board as well. So, with that bit out of the way, now, there's going to be a new world hunt that's like all March long. Now, with this particular aspect to global, you're going to be getting like chances for additional tickets, which is really nice because I could use more tickets, if you know what I mean. Now, outside of all that, it looks like DFFOO for both JP and Global have reached another milestone, which is the 9 million downloads. Now, what we do know here is that days 1 through 7 is going to be 1,000 gems a day, and the 8th day is going to be 2,000 gems. Now, like I said, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm more than likely to miss because, like I said, I couldn't catch the initial stream because I had so many errands to run. I didn't get done till close to 6 p.m. So that's how bad it got. Now, with that, I'm looking at my notes here, so do not mind the whole looking down at the notes here. So we do know there's certain other characters are getting either like Awakenings, all that good stuff. So with the whole aspect of that stuff, now we are going to be getting Dimensions and Transcendence, which is the next level of the whole aspect. Now, you want to really pay attention to the stream here because they explain it in a way that I can't. That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, with that bit out of the way, we do have a rework, I believe it is, for Gambert for Final Fantasy 12. He gets his LD alongside the LD extension. So, that's that on that. And on top of all that, so we do have a new character for the month of March. It is through the main story. It's Theodore from Final Fantasy IV: The After Years. He is considered the protagonist in the sense of the sequel one. So he comes out 8080 Awakening 1535 EX LD. Now, when it comes down to certain other aspects, oh gosh, Now, when it comes to characters like Theodore, because he is a sequel main, and you look at one other character who should be getting her LD pretty soon, Sarah, she's a sequel main as well. Now, it's been confirmed that spin-off, like varying mains, as in sequel, prequel, spin-off mains are getting their own, should be getting their burst weapon in the future. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the month of March, the sequels, prequels, and spin-offs are getting their own burst weapons as Burst Plus. Now, you're kind of wondering, Burst Plus, that's not on global. It's slated to be on global later on this year, folks. If global continues to pace themselves like the way they have been. So, again, if Sarah does get her burst, it's going to be as Burst Plus. Theodore, the same thing, Burst Plus. Now, there's Dark Knight Cecil. That's going to be a good question. Is like, if he gets his Burst Plus, will it be because he's a protagonist or one of the final bosses for the after years? That's probably going to be the reason there. Now, outside of all of that, like I said, Theodore's coming early March. He comes in at 8080 Awakening, 8080 Awakening with the LD extension boards already ready to go. Now, the second burst weapon person for the month of March is Paladin Cecil. Now, the banners tied to him do not have a free multi-pull. Whereas for Onion Knight, you have the two banners that's coming up with both his burst and or LD alongside Theodore's banner. So that's one of those things. It's like, okay, I may look at my resources here closely. Now, when it comes down to the Lost Chapters, the 5th of March is going to be Arcella's Lost Chapter. She does not get a rework. However, she does get her 8080 Awakening and the LD extension to her character enhancement board. The 19th of March is going to be Kais's Lost Chapter. Same thing. He does not get a rework. He only gets the 8080 Awakening, LD, and the LD extension to his character enhancement boards. Now, with that bit out of the way, there's going to be a boss rush later on this week. This will have the 8080 Awakening, LD, and LD extension board for Hope for Final Fantasy 13. Now, I'm actually excited for this because Final Fantasy 13 is in my top 5 of... I think I need to check the settings on some of the aspects of this because I don't know what's going on, but it's like, I'm kind of like doing that. You see that screen coming out here there, but when it comes down to the, anything Final Fantasy 13 related, I'm one of the more excited ones because it is in my top 5. You're kind of wondering why Final Fantasy 13, the trilogy, is in my top 5. It's because I feel that the storyline for 13 resonates quite well with what's been going on in today and since of current events worldwide. I'd rather, have the storyline where I can resonate with it in some aspect than not. And Final Fantasy 13 fits the bill. So the whole thing, the whole thing with Hope is the reason why I'm excited for his LD, as well as his 8080 Awakening, is because the effects of what his LD can do is imperil magic in the sense of the enemy's resistance to it. Meaning that you have people who deal magic type damage will become more effective. As long as, and this is especially so when you have Hope in the party. Because he does have means to heal the party. He has means to truly support the party, keep people alive. And the whole thing, he can make other people better. And like I said, Hope, his EX came to me in 11 tickets. So for me, he is a pull for me with my tickets. I am going to be conserving my gems a good deal. Now the whole thing with that, it is what it is. Now there is a raid coming along. This is going to be where the 2 banners that has Paladin Cecil's 8080 Awakening, LD, Burst Weapon, as well as the LD extension to the character enhancement boards. This does not have a free multi-pull in it, so it kind of is going to be leading me into the overall tips outside of the aspect of what was said in the stream, which is early on. That part is going to get its own. That is part 2. The yellow section here, and to give off a bit of a hint, it was something that Josh had said. It was early on in the stream, so that is part 2 because I do have to sound off on that. I'm going to be extremely respectful with what I have to say. Now, when it comes down to the overall thoughts and tips here, is that when you look at the free multiple, so the banner pertaining to that has Hope's LD in it, that's going to be the final free multiple for the anniversary, because there are going to be 3 additional banners where how do I want to say this? There will be 3 additional banners throughout the month of March where there is a free multiple. And the free multiples are tied to Onion Night. So if you look at Arciela's Lost Chapter banner, Kai's Lost Chapter banner, the banners pertaining to the upcoming raid that contains Paladin Cecil's Burst and LD weapons, this is where we actually have to be mindful of our resources. Resource management. That's going to be extremely crucial because the month of April is going to be kind of insane for some. And this is especially true when you have the 22nd of March being the tentative date for the next stream. Now, that's down that. Now, I particularly enjoy the fact where when it comes down to the stream rewards and the Twitter goodies, they're all coming on the same day. That's extremely helpful for some who are trying, either recuperate resources or saving it for future banners. Now, hold on a second. Now, the whole thing here with the support campaign, and it looks like Ramu. Now, I have a feeling that the whole thing with Divine Ramu is going to be one of the reasons why April's going to be a nightmare for some instance of resources. Because if keyword being if here, if Divine Ramu shows up in April, if Arena's full event rerun comes in April, and you have certain other items coming in the month of April, you have to really pick and choose on who you want. Now, the whole thing with meta, this is where you can listen to any content creators. It's like, okay, this is meta because of this, that, and the next thing. But you have to look at a few things, and one of those things you have to look at is your own resources. Because your resource situation will not be the same as mine, and vice versa. Now, some people may go with meta-only favorites. Some people will go like favorites over meta. Now, so the thing is with April, it might be a proper resource nightmare month because, again, I can tell you the next 2 people who are getting their burst and LD weapons in the month of April. I'm not talking about the month of March, but March might be like, a trap for April because unfortunately, there are certain characters whose LD is highly desirable in the month of April. There are characters whose burst weapon may or may not be desirable when they first come out, but the burst plus variant makes them very desirable. And the reason why that all is because if you get certain gear at that point, it becomes one less banner to pull on in the future. So that's that on that. Now, the whole thing with Squall, people were wondering about Squall's 8080 Awakening. I do feel this is going to be a March going to April. And this might be when we see a second version of the Start Dash banner. That has yet to be seen on an overall scale. But again, we still do not know when Squall's 8080 Awakening is coming. And some people were speculating it's March. I feel it's going to be March going into April. Now, there's one thing I do want to say here about the stream. It was something Glacie said towards the very end, where she mentioned something along the lines of maybe in part in less streams for the foreseeable future. I mean, this is something I personally did not see coming, but it is a decision that Glacie made for herself. It's the best decision she could make for herself, something I fully support and respect. And Glacie, I wish you all nothing but the best of luck. Because as human beings, we can only take on so much in our real lives. And sometimes you have to cut things loose or reduce your interactions for a while, so that way you don't overwhelm yourself with so much so soon. And that's something that we all can, ask for as a community. Just don't overwhelm yourself. I wish you nothing but the best. You got it all. You just keep on rocking it, Glacie, on the real. But like I said, I do have a part 2 to this, and I'm going to be finishing part 1 right now. So with Wolvie here, signing off, I will catch you all on the flip side.